Let's now move to this story, and it's a story that came out of Durban late yesterday, and that's the news of a freak wave that hit the Bay of Plenty. Quite a few injuries, at least one person dead, and we know that a full investigation is going to be made into what exactly happened. We're joined now by Robert McKenzie from the KwaZulu-Natal Emergency Services. Robert, thank you so much for joining us. I wonder if you could tell us exactly what a freak wave is and what, to the best of your knowledge, actually happened at the Bay of Plenty yesterday.
Good evening. That's a good question. It was described to me as a freak wave, which you can imagine is a rather large, unexpected wave coming through in the sets of waves. However, like I said, I wasn't there. I just have to go off what was described to me. And like I said, if you have a set of waves that are a particular set height, and then you have another one or another few that are suddenly bigger, that's what we would generally describe as a freak wave. And it's understood that there were people in the water, people bathing when this freak wave occurred.
Could you tell us about the injuries and deaths? I've heard as many as 3 people may have died.
Yeah, so sadly 2 people were washed out and were recovered from the water. And a child was also recovered from water, and paramedics attempted CPR on her, I'm told, for almost an hour. However, she did not respond to treatment and was also declared deceased at the scene. We know that 17 people were transported to hospital. So that's not the total number of people involved. Many people would have walked away unscathed. We know that 17 people were transported to hospital, and their injury or their condition ranges from critical to serious at the time yesterday afternoon.
So what would have caused the deaths? Is it, I mean, you've mentioned the 2 people who were washed away. Were people, even in shallow water, suddenly engulfed with this massive wave and then pulled out to deeper waters? Just explain how it probably played out.
That sounds like a possible scenario. From what I understand, these were near drowning victims. So there were people that got into difficulty after this event, possibly took some water into their airways. And this was their primary concern, or their primary mechanism of injury, as we call it in the medical field, the water in the airway, the water in the lungs. And this is the problem that they had, and the reason they needed to be taken to hospital for treatment.
Now, this is a beach with lifesavers. I would imagine they would have been also very overwhelmed with so many people in distress.
Oh, no, understandably. It's a very difficult situation with lots of people at the beach. It's very stressful for the lifesavers, but we must commend them. We always see them going out and performing a sterling job and sterling work.
Now, I've looked back at freak waves, and it seems that every few years we do have this phenomenon in the Durban area. How common are they?
I don't think I'm the person to be able to give an expert opinion on that. However, I can remember reporting on a similar incident before. I can't remember exactly when. It was a good couple of years ago. And if I'm not mistaken, it was on the Durban beachfront, and I think in a similar vicinity. So it has happened in the past, and it is one of the risks of swimming in the sea, is the change in the currents, the change in the waves. And it's just the dynamic. It's part of the dynamics of swimming in the sea.
And just generally, you know, as emergency services, talk to me about what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal, how things are going, where most of your efforts are focused at this time of year.
We do know that we have lots of road traffic crashes. I believe I'm going to give you more details about one that happened this afternoon shortly. So we do have a lot of road traffic crashes with people. You have people that are traveling long distances. You also have increased road usage due to people being on holiday and wanting to travel around. Unfortunately, it is a time when we see more people consuming alcohol before they're driving, and we know this severely impacts the driver's ability to safely handle a motor vehicle. And we see many crashes in the festive season, many of which are related to alcohol consumption. And then we do also see an increase in the number of drownings. There's several reasons for that. Children are on school holidays, so children are at home. and it's hot, so people are going to the bodies of water to cool off and swim. Also, one of the misconceptions is that the majority of the drownings occur in the sea, whereas actually the majority of our drownings occur in fresh water in rivers and dams. And there have been many such incidents, even in this last week leading up to this incident on Saturday. My colleagues at Police Search and Rescue have been busy all over the province.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit more about this Bergville accident on the N3 in KwaZulu-Natal. We've heard as many as 7 people may have died. What is the information that you have at this time?
Yes, I've got that same information that sadly 7 people have sustained fatal injuries in this crash. And paramedics from KZN Emergency Medical Services, together with their colleagues from several private ambulance services, treated a total of 6 patients at the scene. Those patients were in critical and serious conditions and needed to be transported to hospital for continued medical care. The exact cause of this specific crash is not known. Authorities are on the scene to start an investigation. We know it was on the N3 southbound between the Bergville and Tugela plazas.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. Much appreciated. Robert McKenzie from KwaZulu-Natal Emergency Services there.